Hey, Christopher. Hey, congratulations for the Banishing.
Thank you very much. No, good. It's good to speak about it again. I'm halfway through another film, so it's nice to sort of step back and look at the ones before.
Now, this isn't a script that you wrote. So, what attracted you to this project?
I'd never made a ghost story before. I know it's not a traditional ghost story, but the sense of the British haunted house movie. I've always felt that there's a sort of slight pastiche, or there's a slight kind of I always feel these movies gloss around the history of the time, and I wanted to sort of approach it when I read the script that we would also dig into the context, because there's very much a sort of sense of any costume dramas in this country is a like America in the 1950s. There's this kind of, oh, the good old days of what you mean, the good old days during the build up to World War II, and where women were second class citizens, and et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to sort of dig into that world a little bit. That's what attracted me to it.
Now, it's been a while since you've done a horror film. It's going back to this genre. Is it like riding a bike for you?
Well, first and foremost, nothing I've ever done really has had a plan. I never planned to make 4 horror movies on the trot when I started. I wrote Creep, and then I tried to sort of get Triangle going. And in the meantime, I was given Severance to make, and then Black Death. So I kind of, it was never really a plan. And so when I then said, what's the next film you want to do? I mean, Ridley Scott liked Black Death, and he said, let's do a film. And I said, I want to make a Christmas movie. I got this crazy idea. When you know me, that makes complete sense. But they were like, his execs from LA were like, don't make a Christmas movie. What are you, crazy? Carry on making horror. And so it's actually it is lovely to come back and do horror. I'm just doing another one at the moment, and I've probably got about 3 more coming after that. So I don't know what the 2010s will be, a kind of a strange sort of detour of my career, I think, when we look back. But no, it's fun. I like to bring good, I like to approach horror I think it allows the filmmaker, it allows me to do something really interesting, and more so really than you can do in, the market for the sort of 90s thriller, for example, are much harder to get those films made now. And the way the market has changed, it's actually lucky and good that I've got this kind of love of horror. I can come back and do stuff like this, because horror is one of the few movies that can still get in the cinema, which is good.
But I noticed a lot of your old signature horror tricks, mirror images, long hallways and corridors and shadows, and creepy scares. I mean, that's you even though that's a long time ago, you put it all back in here into as a Banishing.
Yeah, I've always loved sort of, I like in camera moments. I don't want to be an old curmudgeon, but I find CGI stuff. I think with horror, it's boring. It's like horror jumps are like magic tricks. It's look that way and I'll do something that way. And the best ones are always in camera. The best, you think about The Exorcist, with she goes upstairs and she's walking along with a candle, and suddenly the candle flames. I love the fact that someone has wired up a gasoline kind of thing to this candle and is popping it and I think that there's something about the ghost train, the haunted house, the ride aspect of horror that I think needs practical effects and practical jumps. Look this way, and then we turn around, mirror shots, triangle. I mean, I'm currently working with Jenna Malone, and we've done another mirror shot in the new one I'm making, which is, and obviously she was in one of the greatest horror mirror shots ever in Contact. She was she was the little girl in Contact that opens the mirror. So we were having fun with mirrors again.
Most excellent. Now, this film is a haunted house type of story, and the house is very important character in the story. Tell us about this fine mansion that you actually found. I mean, it's spectacular. It's huge.
Yeah, it was actually too big. It was basically for the character and the story, which is that they're in a vicarage. So when you watch the movie, there's a section at the end in the epilogue where you see this huge stately home. which is supposedly set in Germany, we that was the actual house. And the house that we use for the haunted aspect was the vicarage on the back of that house. So the thing we use as our house is actually the vicarage, plus we use lots of the big corridors, and we had to sort of, you know, kind of dirty the house down. It was so grand. But, you know, this is not really cobwebs. It's not that kind of vibe. I've always been more, as you reference, you know, Triangle is very influenced by The Shining. I've always been more influenced by the horrors that happen within the mind and within the, you don't need shadows and fog necessarily to be scared. That's hope to hope. I find the kind of, you know, the sort of hatefulness that's in that house in a way comes from husband to wife. You know, he's got this beautiful wife, he's a vicar, and yet he sort of feels disgusted by her because she has some kind of past. And I just think that it's really that side of the story for me, the grotty sort of human aspect is interesting as well in this.
Did that house have like a huge wine cellar? Because I was like scratching my head, like what kind of mansion has a catacomb underneath?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's like that place. It's interesting. We you know, you budgets since I started making horrors and now have come down. You know, partly the Blumhouse model, partly they've found a sweet spot of budgets where if you make a film for a certain amount, it really reduces the risk for the investor. But unfortunately, it means that you've got to think clever. So what we did with this, you know, not unfortunately, but we think you say, okay, let's find this house, let's use this house, and then let's use everything else on this estate, including our accommodation, which is what we did. And to make a period movie that looks as good as it did, it's a sort of, it's a good exercise. And we've just done it recently again, where you find the location that can give you most things, because the money is costing trailers and all that sort of stuff that you have to take when you go on location. So yeah, I mean, you know, we take some, you know, I used to say we take a few liberties, but you need the nooks and crannies of a big house, because in America your houses are, you know, for the most part much bigger than ours. Ours are more comparable to if you live in New York. You know, the kind of, you know, London is very much like we're all crammed into one room. Unless, of course, you're a Premier League footballer, in which case you can have a huge home.
Well, I'm not. Let's not forget. Could you talk about your star, Jessica Brown Finley? Why she was perfect for the role? I mean, a lot of people know from Downton Abbey.
I worked with Jess about 10 years ago on a TV show I did, and she's just one of the. She's, as I said, you know, Jess transcends her physicality, that the way she looks. She's a brilliant actor, and we having her in this, she gives the perfect balance of vulnerability and strength. But I mean, I think she's phenomenal in the film. I try, you know, there's nothing. She carries this movie on the the fragility, if you like, that she. But you also, when she stands up to her husband, you really are on her side. She's yeah. But I mean, it was a no-brainer for me to try and get Jess in this.
Love her different facial expressions throughout the entire movie.
Oh yeah, exactly. I was teasing her about her wardrobe. She always seemed to pop up in another really beautiful outfit, and the wardrobe said, no, it's just that Jess can wear anything and look nice. I said, you're a vicar's wife, Jess, but she goes, but I had a life before. Remember, he took me on because I have a child. So yeah, she got out all her jazz clothes. It was really cool. And of course, Sean learned to dance for the movie. Sean Harris, we got him dancing lessons because we just wanted to start with a tango dance. It's it's fun.
Excellent. Well, one more thing before I let you go, Christopher. What were the toys originally came with the house, or you had to hunt those toys down?
No, we hunted some of the toys down, but there were some things there. A lot of how we shot the movie on our budget is they've got multiple rooms with so we would fight. So the way we designed the movie was we would say that the stately home had about 20 rooms, all decorated differently. We obviously couldn't have a house that big because we're in the vicarage, so we are playing with space a bit, but so our design was just simply, okay, we'll use that bedroom, we'll bring the toys from that bedroom, that's because they had some vintage stuff. So it was really a kind of, yeah, we really used what we had, which I like to do anyway. I mean, I admire when when you hear the Hitchcock model, that he's storyboarded everything, every single shot was planned, the filmmaking process is kind of largely redundant. I'm the opposite of that. I like to prep, but then actually when you're in the room and you're in the space on location, you know, in the recce's, you'll find something that will trigger an idea. I mean, obviously, the higher budget scale, you can do both. You can find the location, you can recce, and then you can build it in a studio. So that would probably be the easiest way. But yeah, no, it was a great experience making the film.
Well, terrific. It's a pleasure watching your film, Christopher. It's a pleasure speaking to you. And hey, take care and be safe.
Yeah, get back my bad finger. Look. I'll see you later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate
Cheers.
it.
Thank you, Gig. Cheers.